DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm your host, Rudo, joined by AJ Hafley. The man is back in the States even. Welcome back, AJ, first of all.
Thanks.
Obviously, the big news over the last Monday? I forget what day it was exactly, but the NHL did officially come to an agreement to allow the players to go to the Olympics in this coming year. So that is a thing that is going to happen. It's a thing that will cause a giant break in the middle of the season. So
it had to be Thursday or Friday because
was it that late? Maybe.
Yeah, because you and I had already recorded Friday's show and then the news broke.
That's true.
And we were like, well, we're talking.
Guess we'll talk about this Monday.
Yeah, and then Monday was a holiday, so it was like, all right,
just keep moving it back. But
we're doing a show on Tuesday, so we're talking about it on Tuesday, and that's just how it's gonna be.
How it works sometimes. Either way, we'll get into all of the Olympic stuff, particularly some Avs targets for the Olympics on today's show. So it should be a fun one. Before we jump into that really quick, just a little bit of other news. The Kotkaniemi offer sheet was officially not matched. So he is a Hurricane now, the first unmatched offer sheet since 2007.
Yeah, so we did a whole episode about it.
Yeah,
and
go check that episode out.
It might be it might be 14 more years before we see another successful one.
I'd say that's unfortunately accurate, but here's to hoping there's a couple more in the coming years. We'll never know for sure. But
please, GMs, the league is more fun with these shenanigans.
More fun, always a good thing, especially for the NHL. They could tend to lighten up a little bit, to say the least. But
really,
should we jump into the Avs at the Olympics conversation here? I mean,
we can get into it, but like just the Olympics in general, I just think it's great that the NHL players are going back. Because how much of the last Olympics did you watch?
I watched the finals.
I watched the third period of the gold medal game. Otherwise, the only hockey that I watched was women's.
Yep, same. It's weird with those things, right? Because at least personally, I always view the Olympics as what is supposed to be the best athletes in the world at what they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
that's what the women's tournament was.
Exactly right. It's what most of the events at the Olympics are. But when you have things like hockey where they aren't sending the players from the best league in the world, it really does take a lot of the something special out of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, and those rosters, like, it was the Spangler Cup.
Yep.
Not a good time.
They wanted to take Cale Makar before he had ever played an NHL game.
Yeah.
Which
I actually forgot all about that already. He turned them down.
Yep.
And people were like, he doesn't care about his country. And I was like, okay.
That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day, maybe. But
yeah, like he just finished WJCs.
Yeah.
And it was like he didn't want to spend another month away from school. Like he goes to school so he can develop and become a pro prospect and to do his, to get the experience.
His entire season not at school.
That was the whole thing in international competition. And that was a stupid drama.
Yeah, the new Wild jersey is ugly. I don't know, chat. It's bad. I know it's supposed to like pay homage to their roots or whatever, but their roots are ugly. So
yeah, that was. I loved how people like got like on their high horse and were like, "Oh, new hockey fans don't understand. This is what jerseys used to look like." And it was like, yeah, back when jerseys were fugly.
Yeah, it doesn't change the fact that they were ugly jerseys back then.
Yeah, like those were ugly jerseys. These are ugly jerseys. It doesn't matter when you started being a hockey fan. That's just ugly. So it was a fun weekend for hockey news as we naturally, we're not on the air for 3 days while
And
things were
stuff
taking
actually
place.
happens. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I guess technically 4 days because
Yeah,
Friday show was
we
not
were
live.
pre-recorded. Yeah, so that's when all the stuff goes down. But yeah, I believe it's just for the Winter Classic, that ugly jersey. But yeah. Hey, look, the Avs outdoor jersey was ugly as hell too. So
Yeah, I mean it's not like a high horse thing,
right? Yeah,
this is an ugly jersey thing.
Just a fact. Spitting facts right now.
We crucified the Avs outdoor jerseys. We were all mad because the day before they revealed those dope practice jerseys, and we were like, "Why aren't they wearing those?"
Yeah.
So yeah, there was. I saw some consternation over the weekend where people were like, "Oh, Avs fans think a Wild jersey is ugly. Big surprise." And it was like, yeah, it's because it's ugly. That doesn't make that the only ugly jersey to have ever existed. It's just the newest ugly jersey.
True.
Especially after their Subway jerseys last year.
2 for 2.
Yeah,
right now on the ugly jerseys. Yeah.
You guys are they really have quite the hot streak going for just some nastiness. But we say that, and a lot of people love those jerseys. And you and I have also stated
we're not the best opinion for fashion, definitely.
Fashion-wise, we're probably two dudes not to trust.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 95 degrees out right now, and I'm wearing a beanie, mostly because my room is ice cold. But, still.
Well, it is what it is, but, we also don't care about ads on jerseys, so I guess who knows.
Yeah, well, so ads on jerseys, did we even talk about this?
We did a while back.
Yeah, like as long as they're small, as long as they're like the NBA ones where you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that Western Union thing was even there on the Nuggets jersey.
Yep.
As long as it's like that, I'm good. I just don't want it to look like the Euro jerseys where you're just like, these are.
Well, even worse is like the Euro ice. I swear there's some of those rinks. There's at least one rink that had a sponsor that took up one of the offensive zone faceoff dots that was black. And it's like, RIP that goalie, because he's never going to see a shot coming from that circle.
Like, could somebody please stand up and be like, this is impractical?
What color is that ice?
Where's the adult in the room?
Yeah. Sometimes money can't trump all, but in that case, it definitely did. In any case, players certainly don't get paid to go play in the Olympics. So,
yeah, Michael thinks that NHL players should not be in the Olympics and that they should only be in the World Cup. I think that because the players care about the Olympics, they should go to the Olympics.
Yeah. Especially, like, you hear a ton from all the Euro players how important the Olympics is to them, too.
Yeah,
so.
And that's why I'm super pro player Olympics, is because it's like, I mean, look how great it is for the sport when you have a legendary game. I was living with a dude who did not care one shred about hockey. And he and his girlfriend watched the gold medal game with me in 2010. And that was classic. That was a classic game.
It was.
Every Canadian that was alive that has any semblance of memory knows where they watched that game. Yeah. An awful lot of Americans were excited about that game. Because the United States, that team wasn't supposed to be very good. That team was not supposed to be there.
Yep.
So that was great for the game of hockey. And I think that's the hope, is to have another all-time classic like that.
Well, and I think for hockey especially, over the last decade or so, we've really seen it become more and more of a global game. Now, yes, it's not everywhere, but at a international level, Finland, Sweden, both extremely competitive teams on that scene now.
Yeah. Well, and Sweden's been a power for a long time, but Finland, really not a very populous country. And somehow they've emerged as a legitimate hockey powerhouse.
You have
and that's great. Like you look at all the talent that comes out of Russia,
mm-hmm.
and somehow Russia's at the
Just
very highest
mid-tier.
level.
Yeah,
is like they're good. It just sort of depends on the tournament if they're going to be great or not.
And then you have teams like Germany who are on the up and up with guys like Draisaitl on that team now.
Yeah, I mean Draisaitl. They had three guys that got drafted in the first round.
Reichel and JJ. Yeah.
Not even Paterka. He was a second round pick. Seider.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about Seider. You're right.
Yeah, they had 4 guys in the first 35 picks drafted in a 2-year span from a country that's an afterthought historically in hockey. So I mean, this is actually a really. I think it's gonna be awesome, man. Like this is as exciting a time for international hockey as we've had in a long time, because you do have some countries that are up and coming. You know, as Slovakia started to fall off a little bit, you know, there needed to be another country. Like the Czech Republic has always been good, but not great.
Yep.
That's kind of where they are still. But now with Germany on the rise, we might see, you know, we might come back and get to see some more. You know, I mean, look, Latvia beat Canada at the World Championships this last year. That was a huge deal for that country.
Yep.
So I'm thrilled that the NHL has had it back, that we're going to get to see the best on best. And this is a marquee event for the Winter Olympics, because without it, the Winter Olympics lost a lot of shine. Like I got super into like bobsledding and skeleton and curling and stuff, and that was all good as well.
Through line of hockey for like the entire Olympics. Yeah.
Right. Like it's legitimate. Like it's a huge deal when the NHL players are there.
Yep.
Because this is an opportunity for the league to show off its absolute tip-top talent in a manner in which the players deeply care about. Because we've talked, look, all-star games are worthless in every league. And you don't want players going 100% in an all-star game, because if a guy gets hurt in an all-star game, it was for nothing.
Yep.
So the Olympics is the only time we get to see this.
Yep.
And it's great for the game.
Right. It's such a big platform for the game to grow, not just like obviously in China at the actual Olympic event, but
yeah,
just go talk to anyone about the Summer Olympics that ended, you know, what was it, 3 weeks ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have people talking to you about like track and field events that you've never talked sports with for a minute in your life. And it just puts hockey at the forefront of sports for a little bit and gets people talking about it that normally wouldn't watch hockey at all.
Absolutely. Because, you know, at the Summer Olympics, you've got NBA players at, you know, playing basketball. And that puts them in prime time. You know, the networks prioritize putting the NBA players in those primetime slots. Yeah. And they're going to do the same. They're going to give hockey the same treatment, because it is once again one of the flagship sports of the Winter Olympics.
Yep.
With stars that you recognize. So, yeah, and Ben with a great memory.
TJ
Sochi, like, who cares what happened? Who finished where? Everybody remembers that shootout.
Mm-hmm.
Like when these Olympics produce those moments, it's only good for the game. So I'm super excited, man. It was the logical decision. I totally understand why NHL owners don't want anything to do with it. I've always said if the Islanders were any good back when it happened, or the Panthers, Barkov and John Tavares both got hurt at the Olympics.
Yeah.
And had those teams been any good, the uproar would have been
massive.
Yeah. I mean, imagine Austin Matthews going to the Olympics and blowing out his knee and missing the rest of the year. And the Maple Leafs would rightfully be furious that they have paid $11 million or whatever his salary actually is. You know, they paid
whatever
his money, because you know how, like, I'm just using his AAV and it's like his actual stuff. Somebody will be, we're actually making 14 million, AJ. My bad. Whatever money he actually makes this year, he's gonna get paid that money for producing in the NHL. And if he goes and gets himself hurt at the Olympics and it sinks their cup chances, of course the Maple Leafs are going to be upset. That's the fear. That's everybody's fear. Nobody wants to see that. But the players still want to take the chance because it's that important to them. Right. And because this is where the pride of your country is so big in hockey. That tribalism is so big in hockey that you put on the sweater. You represent your country at the highest level. And it's great. You got bald eagles and Maple Leafs. You get people going at it.
I think it's especially great for players who unfortunately don't play on a team like the Avs too. Like, you're Clayton Keller, and you get to go play on Team USA with a bunch of huge names that Arizona has never really effectively surrounded you with.
Yeah.
And you get a month to just ball out with some of the best players in the world.
I mean, maybe more relevant than Phil Kessel.
Mm-hmm.
You know, who's kind of spending the end of his career languishing, doing nothing in Arizona right now.
Yep.
But the last productive years of his career might be spent, might just get wasted. Yeah. And this could be the last chance that he has to really go and be an impact player on a team playing for something.
Yep. That my other secret hype is I want Jágr to play for the Czech Republic.
He should.
I want to see what a 49-year-old Jágr can do against the best in the world.
I mean, I don't think the Czech Republic forward core is so deep that, you know, maybe as a depth guy.
There you go. Get in as a
player
coach or something. Who knows? Yeah. It should be fun, though. I am super looking forward to it. It's going to be...
This was like a logical conclusion, but one that everybody was nervous wasn't going to happen because money talks, and there are a lot
weird decisions.
Like, there are a lot of really reasonable and legit financial arguments against NHLers going to the Olympics.
Yeah, but from a pure fan standpoint, absolutely send them.
But from the standpoint of a league that badly struggles to compete in the Big Four space,
right?
This is their chance to
put themselves out there.
Sport, because the NFL season will have just ended when the Olympics start up.
Yep.
But baseball's not going on at all, or
spring training might just be starting.
Pitchers and catchers will report at the end of the Olympics,
and no one cares about that anyway. So,
which I can't believe they do it so early now.
And basketball will not be in their playoffs yet either. So
and basketball will be in the regular season lull, where it's like the players aren't even taking this seriously
where
yet.
The best teams have run away with a lead in their division, and no one cares.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is hockey's chance to shine. This is like the one thing, and now the league stopped being stupid and is putting themselves front and center once again in front of the world. And it's great. 20 minutes just to say we're excited.
A lot of great conversations, though. Obviously we're on the pro Olympic side, but it's clear that you can just bring up anything in tangent to the Olympics, and it's a great conversation to have about who is the best in the world and who isn't. So
I don't feel like I know anybody that just doesn't like the Olympics. Cygnus in the chat is like, oh, it gave me a chance to watch other things. It put the spotlight on the women's game. Yeah, that's all good and well. That's great. It was awesome. But it also took away the any of the reason to watch the men's side of things.
Yep. The Olympics for me also it's a time to where I consume as much Olympics as humanly possible. That's always my goal. Like
Same.
this summer, I watched so many events. So
one of the things that makes the Olympics so difficult or so great is that it's really difficult to follow a lot of these sports when they're not in season, or when they're not in the Olympics.
Right.
This is the only time that they get primetime billing. It's the only time you can really easily have access to seeing them, which is a great argument for not having the NHL there and allowing the spotlight to shine on lesser sports.
For sure.
But it's also a great chance for hockey to be front and center because of that. And because the NHL is sending its players, fans who have never watched a game before can watch this and be like, oh my gosh, this Nathan MacKinnon is incredible. Who does he play for?
Yep.
Oh, he plays for the Avs? Great. Well, they're nationally televised all the time now. I can just turn on an Avs game now really easily. Bam! And I'm there. I'm watching Nathan MacKinnon.
Yep.
And that is phenomenal for the sport. That's exactly what you want to have happen. That is the system working.
I think especially for the United States, it's a great opportunity for the NHL to just put themselves on the map even more so. But, watching the Olympics, I'm going to be drinking Breckenridge Brewery. So go get yourself some Breck Brew at your local liquor store. Of course, you can get it on a tap down at the bar. Either way, it's awesome. You can check out their Good Company hard seltzers too. They got you covered pretty much no matter what you're looking for. Hit up a Breck Brew. Use their Breck Beer Locator online to find it near you. And then head on over to Green Mountain Dental Group. When you need to clean your teeth, they'll take care of you. And if you get a cleaning, x-ray, and exam done with them, they'll give you a free Sonicare toothbrush to boot to make cleaning your teeth at home that much easier. They're great. We've had tons of people switch. Everyone says they love them over there. So they're some of the best Denver metro area dentists that you can find. Check them out. Hit up Green Mountain Dental Group. Supporting our partners is supporting us. And if you want to support us directly, you can get yourself a DNVR membership. An annual membership right now is less than $60, and it comes with a free DNVR shirt. P.S. Check out our new shirt line. Just dropped 9 new shirts over the weekend. Pretty dope stuff. I would recommend the one in the Avs colors if I were you, but your choice is your own. You can pick whatever you want. Of course, you get access to the lounge, all of our
such a nice guy.
Content.
You can pick whatever you want. Thanks, Rudo.
I'll just be disappointed if you don't pick Ab stuff. That's all. That's all. Do you want to disappoint me?
Now you've given them agency over their own decisions and then immediately guilt tripped them.
That's the plan. That's the plan. But yes, beyond the shirt, you get access to the lounge. You get access to our exclusive content, big beers at the bar, and a bunch of other stuff as well. So be sure to check us out. If you want to try it before you buy it, I think if you're a new member, our 1 month trial is 50 cents for a month of access to DNVR. So hit that up. Give us a shot. Take a look at us, and hopefully you like what you see. All right, second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Are we ready, AJ, to talk about the Avs and their involvement in the Olympics?
Yeah.
All right.
Because there's some really obvious ones that we can just get right out of the way.
Do we even need to say anything about Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar?
Well, so there are 4 really obvious ones.
MacKinnon, Rantanen, Landy are all going for their respective countries. Those are easy.
And then Makar.
And then Makar on the defensive side. Yeah.
Yep. So that's cakewalk. Those four guys, barring injury, will be at the Olympics representing 3 different countries.
Yep.
The guys who are a little bit more of question marks, Darcy Kemper.
Yep.
I would say Burakovsky's also probably a lock, but I'm open-minded to something bad happens, something crazy happens, and for some reason they don't want him to play on a 4th line or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be about it.
Yeah.
That would be the only reason that he would probably not go, is they were, a very role specific question mark about Burakovsky, but otherwise he should
expect to see him
definitely
there. Yeah,
he should definitely be at least at the start of the year. I don't want to call him a lock, but a very likely. Another guy that I would say in the very likely category is probably Val Nichushkin for Russia.
Yeah. He probably in more of a depth role, right? But
yeah, for sure.
And Russia's always a weird one, right? Because they always like to bring a couple of KHL guys too.
They do, and it usually comes at the expense of Nichushkin type
players
guys,
for sure.
But Nichushkin is Russia has a really hard time with role players.
Mm-hmm. They have a bunch of snipers over there, basically.
Right. They've got all the dynamic offensive talent that we see come out of Russia all the time. And low key, I wonder what they do with Michkov.
Just bring him and say screw it. Yeah.
I wonder if they're just like, yeah, this is gonna be too fun. So I think Nichushkin has the advantage because he is a role player in the NHL, and so he would be very comfortable in a role player job in the Olympics. Whereas if you take a guy that plays on the top line in the KHL and you drop him onto the fourth line for Team Russia, he's a fish out of water. Is he going to be, skill level? He might have an advantage, but is he going to be comfortable only playing 10 minutes a game? Whereas a guy like Nichushkin is very comfortable in that kind of role now. So I think Nichushkin's got a good argument here. Now he needs to continue to play well.
Right. Well, always a necessity to play well leading up to the selection. But man, Russia's top six really is going to be stacked. That team is crazy.
It's not a good team.
The other teams aren't, but
yeah,
you start throwing around like Kaprizov's name in that mix too, and all of a sudden there's a lot of dudes.
Yeah. It's a good man. It's a really good team.
That's definitely an option for Canada. But we'll see if they want to put them all together, or if they want to have the deepest centers ever in history between McDavid, Crosby, and McKinnon. So we'll see.
I feel like everybody just wants them to put that line together and just be like,
I think they do, but
do it. Just put Crosby on the left and then put McDavid down the middle and McKinnon on the right and just be like, okay.
Team Canada loves to disappoint people with their decisions sometimes, though.
Yeah, they make Hockey Canada makes a lot of really
weird decisions. Yeah.
Curious decisions.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would just be fun.
I think it'd be awesome. I'd be all for it, but we'll see, I guess, is kind of where it's at. But
so not really any candidates for Team USA this year.
Compher would be like a super long shot, right?
Yeah. I mean, JT Compher has, I would say there's a better chance that Erik Johnson climbs that mountain than JT Compher at this point.
I wouldn't go that far.
I just don't. Even if JT Compher had a career year, if he's not putting up 55 point type of season, he's just not in the conversation.
I mean, I think it's one of those things where they'd have to be looking for a depth player again.
Yeah, but there are so many Americans that can fill that role. There's the American forward depth is for real this time around. And they could always go with a guy like a Dustin Brown to do something like that.
Timey guy, yeah.
Yeah, and like leadership and well known with USA Hockey, has represented the country a bunch of times, blah blah blah. So I think I would say EJ's probably got a better shot than Compher. Compher's got to climb over like you mentioned Clayton Keller.
Yeah.
He's got to climb over that kind of player who's still, I think Keller's on the outside looking in.
It would be tough, yeah.
And you're talking Clayton Keller and JT Miller, those are good NHL players that are going to have good seasons to make Team USA.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's tough, man. You have like the Kachucks too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And then you have that whole young group. You've
yeah,
got
yeah.
Jack Hughes and Trevor Zegras, where you're like,
Maybe they just bring those dudes. Yeah,
what do you do with a guy like Matt Boldy, who's a top prospect?
but hasn't gotten the NHL time really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But would be, if he has a good year, if he makes Minnesota and he has a good start to the season, might do something like that. So,
even on the defensive side, EJ doesn't really have a chance either, man.
I mean, he would have to. The only reason that I would put EJ there is because he's going to be in the top 4 of a very, very good team if he absolutely goes off.
Yeah, I mean, he would have to. There are so many dudes ahead of him right now.
Well, and obviously, like, you stay healthy and all that.
Of course,
that's got to happen. But he's got a huge list of like really like solid guys and certainly name recognition guys that he would have to climb over.
Yeah.
So I like I started this discussion. I don't think Team USA has got a real
not a whole lot of open spots. Yeah.
I don't think there's an Av that's going to be representing the Americans.
Gonna be tough there for sure. Yeah, Avs more of a European representation besides Canada, but
yeah, are there? I mean, if you look at forward, like I wonder again depth wise, I wonder about a guy like a Maltsev. I would think
like a
probably
super depth Russian on the outside, maybe.
Yeah, like as like a 14th forward kind of thing.
Yeah.
I wonder about a guy like we don't know where it's gonna come, but a guy like Sampo Ranta. If he this would require a best case scenario for him.
Of course.
He has a crazy training camp. He makes the team. He's
scores
the answer
out in the NHL. Yeah.
He's the answer on the second line left wing next to Kadri and Burakovsky. He looks like he's going to be in the Calder race. Like it's absolute best case scenario for Sampo Ranta to get in there.
Yeah.
But you do wonder about like Finland's forward depth. It should be good. But well, I mean, if he absolutely had his like,
yeah, you're having a conversation there where like the name you're trying to beat out is probably like Kakko or something.
Yeah,
which isn't outside the realm of possibility given the 2 years of play that Kakko has had. But even then, you're talking about way down the depth chart when it comes to the forward course. You're just sneaking on at that point.
Yep.
Yeah, the rest of these forwards, is Kadri like a super long shot? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many centers for Canada that
it's so hard, right?
Yeah, like the other Cygnus brings it up here. We still have a whole other segment that we have to get to.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that.
So we don't want to get into every single guy immediately, but yeah, it's you wonder the other guys for Canada. They've got Ryan Murray's got a lot of international experience.
He could true if he has a healthy year. Yeah,
if he rolled in and was having a career year, could he jump both Sam Girard and Devon Taves? Probably not. I think Taves is a guy that has a real.
Yeah, I agree.
Between Taves and Girard, you're like, you feel like one of them's got a chance, right? You just don't know which one.
It feels so easy for Team Canada to go, hey, this dude finished 9th in the Norris last year.
Yeah.
You can absolutely see how they talk themselves into Taves. And not that they need to talk themselves into it, but.
Yeah. Somebody in chat had brought up the idea of Byram earlier. Yeah, Brad says it should be Taves and Makar. We saw them do that with Jake Muzzin. With Drew Doughty
to bring his partner in,
where it was like, hey, Jake Muzzin maybe
knows how to play with him.
Maybe wouldn't be a top pairing guy on this team otherwise, but because this pairing works in the NHL, if it's Taves and Makar in Colorado and they have the kind of year that they did last year, I think there's a really good argument for Devon Taves.
Yep. I think probably a little bit more than Girard even.
Yeah. But if they put, like, say they put Girard and Taves back together where they were both really good together,
Yeah,
that bolsters both of their cases.
it's true. So
They're
that'd be wild.
They're definitely guys, like, both of them should be, both Girard and Taves should be like in their top 10 candidates for Canada.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about half of Team Canada's defense could legitimately be Avs next in the Olympics. That's insane.
Yeah.
How do you round that out? Let's just say they take Makar, Taves, and Girard. Who are the other three? Like Pietrangelo, probably.
Boy, man, I would want to see how the season goes to maybe sort some of that out.
Yeah.
But let me see.
Are you bringing old man Drew Doughty? Old man Duncan Keith? I don't know.
I'm not.
Well, we all know you're bringing Dougie. All right.
Well, I think, like, I want to see how Dougie does in Jersey.
Okay.
I think that a guy like Shabbat would have a good argument. I think a guy like Chikrin has a great argument.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely, Shea Theodore should be in this conversation.
Yeah, but so now it gets hard, right? Because now we've already named 8 defensemen.
Well, and you look at a guy. What about a guy like Ryan Ellis? He's going to be top pairing next to Provorov in Philly.
Yeah.
And he's going to have every opportunity to do his thing.
List goes on too. You got guys like Matt Dumba.
Yeah, I mean,
Ekblad if he's healthy. Like,
what do you do with a guy like Mackenzie Weegar, who again got Norris votes?
Boy,
Is
tough.
Yeah, and a guy, Weegar's a right shot too. So that's even more of a reason to consider a guy like that. So I don't think Morgan Riley. There are too many good offensive, or I should say, there are too many good two-way defensemen for you to bring Morgan Riley. And if you were going to bring Morgan Riley, you might as well just bring Tyson Barrie.
Just go all in with it.
Like, what's the difference, man?
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted more of a defensive type of guy, you do look at like an Adam Pelech.
Yeah. There's a million dudes.
I like Ethan Bear, but I think it's going to be really hard for Ethan Bear to climb over. I don't see how he makes
the team, yeah.
Like, Ethan Bear's a good player, but we're talking about Ethan Bear having to surpass 20 guys who are top pairing defenders in the NHL.
Would you look at someone like on the younger side? Think about like a Drysdale or something, YOLO?
No.
If
I was going to look at Drysdale, I'd be looking at Byram.
Yeah, I guess Drysdale only has like 5 more games than Byram, so.
And Byram was much better than Drysdale.
Yeah, and I don't see any way Byram makes it, so.
Yeah. I always hate counting out a guy like Byram because I think the talent is there for him to be a special player.
I mean, you have to understand we're recording this show in September. If October, November, and December, Byram just decides that he's going to destroy the NHL, it's a different conversation.
If he has a Cale Makar-esque rookie season,
yeah,
where he's rolling along in a point per game and he's on your top pairing, and the top pairing is straight up Byram and Makar, then maybe we reconsider this conversation come the Olympics.
Yeah, exactly. But
it would take something like that to happen,
right? That would be fun. Don't get me wrong, though.
Personally, I actually love the idea of Team Canada going with a guy like Chikrin and Makar together. Two really good defenders who have a lot of offensive skill. You have the playmaking and the creativity of Makar with Chikrin's shot. I don't know, man. I'm so high on Jacob Chikrin after he finally started to stay healthy and turn the corner. I will publicly give him his props. Nathan Chapman nailed that one.
He did get that one on the money. But PS, we're doing a 2A someday soon for people who like that show. Anyway, I guess now's as good a time as any. Go check out Hassel Cattle Company. They got you the meats, as they say. The Wagyu burger down at the bar. PS, I finally got a chance to go try our new menu. It's amazing. You have to go to the bar and get all of the new food that we have, including building your own Wagyu burger. So try that there, and then go home and order some Hassel Cattle Company online and get 10% off with code DNVR10. If you want to do a group order, $200 or more gets you free shipping. So go get yourself some meats from Hassel Cattle. Then hit up Solace Meds. They got a bunch of deals all September long, ranging from 15 to 25% off on select products in store. And you can order online and get 20% off with code DNVR20 just for using the code. It's that easy. So be sure to check them out. You can order for pickup, come into any of their 4 locations here in Colorado and get what you need. You can select which one you want to pick it up at. So they're awesome. They got pretty much everything you could ever need as far as your cannabis products are concerned. So check them out. Go get yourself some Solace Meds. There's one just a couple blocks from the DNVR bar as well. And then, of course, our primary sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. It's that time of year where people are tailgating and doing all that type of thing for the NFL. DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and with them returning, all customers have the opportunity to participate in this year's no-brainer offer. I'm already in on it. You don't even need a new account on this one. If you already have an account, you can participate. DraftKings has the spread for Tampa Bay on Thursday night at plus 73. So as long as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers don't lose by 74 points, you cover. And the line is set at minus 110. So you're basically doubling your money just because Tampa didn't lose by 74 points, which they won't lose by 74 points. I promise.
I heard this advertisement on the radio this morning when I was driving. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was just like, imagine if they lost by 74 and all these people lose this bet. This thing that they told was a surefire guarantee. And it was just like, all those people never gonna gamble again.
Right, just lost them immediately.
Yep.
But I'm pretty confident that they won't lose by 74 points. I already put my money down on it. Wanted to double my money, so get in on that. Again, you don't need a new account for that one. All you have to do is log into your account, put some money in, and very likely double your money. If you are a new account, though, be sure to use code DNVR, and you can get $200 in free bets instantly when all you have to do is bet $1 or more on any Week 1 football game. So the new accounts, you get even more free money to play with. Go have some fun over at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use that DNVR promo code. New customers get the $1 bet to win $200 in free bets instantly with that code of DNVR. Again, they're an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. Free bet promotion for new customers only. A minimum $5 deposit. Max wager limits do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. All right. Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Getting into maybe some of the more interesting ones at this point. We kind of already mentioned their names. Darcy Kemper is potentially like third goaltender maybe for Canada.
Well, I've got him picked to win the Vezina this year. So if that happens, I mean, if he's playing at that level, he's going to put himself in the conversation.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's at the start of the year. It's hard to think that he's ahead of either Fleury or Price.
Yeah, I don't see how. Based on history, I don't see how you could possibly put him ahead of those two.
Yeah. So Kemper absolutely in the same. Kemper's in the same boat that probably Sam Girard is.
Play their way into it a little bit.
Yeah, like if they just live up to their full potential, they could probably get there.
Yeah. I mean, who's realistically ahead of him that might go for like the third goaltender spot, like Bernier or something, maybe Cam Talbot, maybe.
I mean, you could consider some of the young guys.
Sure, go with like a Carter Hart or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously it's going to come down to play, but I confidently would say he's in the conversation for the third guy at very least.
I mean, you're gonna have. I mean, you look at the list of starting goaltenders.
Yeah.
That Canada has, and it's Binnington, Jari, Fleury, Blackwood, Talbot, Mike Smith, Kemper, obviously, Carter Hart, Matt Murray, Carey Price.
Outside of Fleury and Price, that's not an all-star list by any stretch of the imagination.
It's not. I mean, it's easily the one position that you look at on Canada and say,
this isn't just OP. Yeah.
Like, this is good, not great.
Yeah.
You know, which is, it's funny because, like, you look at the United States list and it's
a
like
whole bunch of dudes. Yeah.
It's like Hellebuck, Demko, Gibson, Nedeljkovic.
Yeah. Even like Jack Campbell. Yeah.
Cal Peterson. And then, yeah, it's like, woof.
Spencer Knight down the list too. Yeah. Pretty
solid. Spencer Knight's not even going to be able to fight his way into that conversation. Right. I don't think, because the guys ahead of him. I mean, Connor Hellebuck is like, right now, it should be Hellebuck, Demko, Gibson, Peterson as the hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, Campbell, Nedeljkovic, and Spencer Knight kind of all somewhere in there.
Yep.
But that's such a deep position for the United States. It sucks that they can only play one.
Yeah.
The one where they might actually have a conversation here. I don't think it's a serious conversation about Frankie.
Sure.
But because he does have the international experience that he does, he's at least an intriguing option. But with the emergence of Vanacek and Mrazek doing his thing, and of course you've got Big Save Dave.
Yeah.
I think it's,
you could talk yourself into Frankie maybe as a third goaltender, but
like if Kemper gets hurt and Frankie takes over the starting job and he plays really well, it's a completely different conversation. But if Kemper is the starting goaltender and he plays to the caliber that we think he's capable of, Frankie's going to play 25 games. And it's going to be really hard for him to justify going to the Olympics at that spot. You know, but third goaltender for Czech Republic, absolutely in play for Frankie. Actually playing in the Olympics, I think is a little tougher of a mountain to climb. Some things have to go his way.
Yeah.
And then he has to play pretty well.
For sure. The other handful of interesting ones, someone in chat mentioned it alongside Frankie and Martin Kaut.
Yeah. He would have to make the NHL.
For sure.
Because, like, very quietly, Czech Republic's forward core is actually pretty good.
Voracek, Krejci, Pasta. It falls off a little bit. Hurdle, Vrana, Zaka, Faxa. Yeah.
So Pasternak, Palat, Krejci, Hurdle, Voracek, Nečas, Kubalik, Vrana, Zaka, Hedel, Zadina, Tomáš Nosek, Radek Faksa, David Kampf. And then after that, maybe you start to open it up. A guy like Andre Kasha is going to be interesting to watch. So, you know, even a guy like Dominic Simone, you wonder what Michael Frolik is up to.
Yeah.
Like, Kaut would have to make the team and be an everyday player for them And he'd have to be pretty solid to actually be in consideration.
Get into the conversation
roster.
of like 12th, 13th forward.
Yeah,
probably,
because you don't think about it, but in the NHL right now, the Czech Republic's forward core is actually it's solid. It's you're not going to get it confused with Team Canada or anything.
But I think
terrible.
Yeah,
it's deep enough that Cout's probably on the outside looking in there.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to say it, at the very least. But it's going to be interesting on that side of it, though, because you always see these teams make weird choices at the bottom of their lineups, just because of who they know, who they've seen. Team Canada is notorious for selecting guys they've selected in the past. They like to stick to their guys a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So there could be other teams like that that see some people that they like. Obviously, Kaut has done a lot with the Czech team over the years with summer stuff and things like that. So he's definitely known by them, but we'll see.
I don't think that the Avs have anybody from the smaller countries.
What I need the actual list of Olympic hockey.
So Germany, China, Switzerland, Denmark, Slovakia, and Latvia.
Yeah, I don't think any Denmark or Latvia teams. Obviously, no China players, but
yeah, they don't have any Germans anymore.
You'll probably see a bunch of ex-Avs. Sven for Switzerland, maybe, but
yeah, I think Sven is probably a lock for the Swiss roster.
See Martinson on Denmark, I think. Oh no, he's from Norway. Wrong one. Yeah.
Actually, some decent NHL players going to be going for Switzerland at forward.
Let's see.
I mean, Fiala, Niederreiter, Meyer, Pia Suter, and Nico Hischier.
Yeah, that's not bad. They're not going to have any depth, but still.
Nope. And it's like Roman Yossi and Lucas Pizza on defense.
Defense is a little thin for sure. Betting a lot on Siegenthaler right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so no Avs. I don't think there's any Avs from the smaller countries.
Yeah, no way.
I don't think they've got any Slovakians.
Not anymore. Are there any NHLers from Latvia that are currently? Oh, I guess Teddy Bluger is technically from there, and Rudolph Balcers. Let's go. Yeah. Then on in goal, you have Elvis. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that's happening. I'd be willing to bet that Johansson probably is not going to be in contention for a Swedish goaltending job.
Yeah, I don't think so.
What with Markstrom, Olmark, Leonard, Gustafsson, even like
Anton Forsberg or something.
Forsberg and Dansk hanging around. Yeah.
Be tough. It'd be tough to convince yourself of JoJo on that lineup.
Yeah, Donskoy, I think, probably is a fair bet for Finland.
I think so, probably. Let me see who could reasonably be ahead of him.
Rantanen, Barkov, Aho, Hintz, Kapanen, Granlund, Puljujärvi, Laine, Tolvanen, Kotkaniemi, Kakao, Teravainen.
I think he still gets on there.
I think he should be somewhere in there.
Yeah. That's
CBJ used to have 2 Latvian goaltenders.
Yep.
I hate that story.
Yeah, it sucks.
So anyway, I think that's probably it.
About covered it for the Abs at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's any deep cuts that we're missing. I'm trying to go through the organization as quickly as I can to make sure I didn't miss anybody.
I mean, barring anything like we've already talked about, you know, if someone makes the team and just absolutely loses their mind.
Like, I do wonder a guy like Zhravalov for Russia.
Sure, maybe. He'd have to have a strong year, though.
It'd have to be a long shot. You know, Kovalenko has been a Russian Federation
They've
favorite
loved him forever, yeah.
So, you know, you could conceivably talk yourself into that.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I don't think there's anybody else. I guess technically he's still part of the Avs organization, but Kamenev could be a Russian forward option.
Maybe. But
I mean, I would take Nichushkin before I took Kamenev, but
same.
You know, who knows what Kamenev does in the KHL
and what the Russians want. Yeah.
Yeah. The Russians are hard because they always make one or two decisions where you're just like, okay. A little odd, but okay.
That's fine. Do what you're going to do.
Wow. Kamenev only had 5 points last year.
That's a yikes.
He only played 21 games, and he had 5 goals and no assists.
Did he break his arm again?
I don't know, man. You want to talk about all-time bad luck there.
No kidding. No kidding.
You have a 50-point year in the AHL. You're ready to break in. You go point per game for the Admirals and then the Rampage. You're ready. You get to the NHL. You hurt your shoulder. You break your arm. You're out for the year. And then you get a handful of games, then you hurt your shoulder and you miss another year.
Yep. Not great, Bob.
Dude, all-time bad luck. He will always be a what if for me.
Yep. There'll be a question marks there forever.
Z making Russia. I would think that Zadorov is a pretty good candidate. They've got Sergachev, Provorov, Orlov kind of at the top of that defense. And then after that,
how much do you like a Zaitsev?
Yeah, Zaitsev. Gavrikov is actually decent.
Kulikov, maybe. Yeah,
Kulikov, Labushkin, Romanov.
Yeah,
a lot of meh back there.
I would think he probably makes it. Yeah,
I would say he's got a better chance to make it over a guy like Sharavalov. But again, they always take a couple of KHL guys where you're like, all righty.
Yeah, you never know who gets cut from the Russian team to check a box or something for some Russian guy. But
yep.
All right. Other than that, final thoughts on the Olympics, AJ? I know we're looking forward to it, so it should be fun.
Yeah, they rock. It's going to be a fun time.
Going to be a fun month of pods talking about Olympic hockey in the middle of the season.
I'm driving up to Canada for the entire Olympics, so I'll be there. Our house is going to be a true blue war zone.
I bet.
Like WJC's is already like we get along.
It's a little contentious up there, yeah.
She did not love the excessive celebrations when USA won the gold medal at WGC's this last year. It was not her favorite version of me. But if they do it at the Olympics, if USA medals ahead of Canada at the Olympics, it's gonna be
something.
Yeah, I may not live to see what happens next.
Well, at least you'll go out on top.
Yep.
Okay. On that note, we're out of here for the day. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. However you consume the pod, we appreciate it a ton. We'll be back tomorrow covering more hockey news, more Avalanche things. We are less than a week away from rookie camp now, so stuff's going to start happening real quick.
Yeah, we are on the ice the Avs are on the ice on Sunday, and we're at the rink. Yep. So, and based on the NHL protocol sent out We might actually get to talk to some people.
Let's go. Hope to see y'all tomorrow. Until then, we will talk to y'all later.